Greetings, everyone. It's Reed, and I've got a quick episode dealing with gardening. So I've got my farmer hat on. Thought I'd switch it up a little bit today. Hopefully I haven't confused all of you. Still the same Reed, though. Wanted to go over this. It's called the Rapid Leaf Soil Test Kit. Back when I first started gardening around here, trying to grow a lot of my own food, had a lot of failure. Great deal of it. I figured, we need fertilizer. So I went and bought Miracle-Gro fertilizer, poured it in there, and the things got worse. A lot worse. The plants just turned yellow and just... I was like, okay, we're losing horribly. Started looking into soil testing. And a lot of it where you send it off to labs and everything like that, well, it cost a lot of money. And I was at the hardware store, and it's towards the end of the season, they had these things on sale. I was like, so it covers mainly what I need to know. Well, can't hurt any. Let's figure this out. Let's buy it and try it out. Well, I tried it out. Now, what it revealed to me is my soil, it has almost no nitrogen. It literally almost none. It's got adequate potash, just right in the middle there. It is absolutely completely flooded with phosphorus. Just flooded. And the pH, it's almost an 8. Now, when you know that, you can actually know how to address it, and so on and so forth. Very, very important knowledge. And with that, I was able to correct the garden, and the next year, well, things went bonkers. I did a great job. So today I want to show you how this kit works, and see how the results are for the coming year. And if you decide you need to check your soil to do a better job, because Miracle-Gro is formulated with a lot of phosphorus in it. Well, a lot from my soil, so I was just making things worse by using it. Exactly. I would recommend buying these. I'll put a link to it. You can get it off of Amazon. They're not too much. They're like, I think $20. And like when these were on sale at the hardware store, I bought all of them they had because they were like $6. So I got a nice supply. But let me show you these, and you can say, hey, that might really help me get my garden going really well. Here we go. Now, what we need for this, obviously the kit. Now, let's get things out of here. Now, you get a little pipette here to pipette the liquid in. And you get these capsules of different things. They correspond to each of the tests, and the color of the pill corresponds to the color of the test you're dealing with. I hope that makes sense there. Now, let's look at the directions. It's been a year. Give me a minute. Now we're going to start with the pH test here. So here's what this one is. So I have my soil in a bag here. I'm going to fill it up to this line right here. And then I'm going to pipette in distilled water into here. And then I'm going to add the test capsule, shake it around real good, and let it sit, and it'll reveal the pH of my soil. Let's get started on that. All right, got my soil lined up where I want it. Let's get our test capsule here. Now I'm going to grab a test capsule and get it in here. And let me open this so I don't like pull on the bag real hard. It tears open and then all the pills go. Have you ever done that with potato chips? Trying to get the bag, it's just not coming, and potato chips everywhere. Yeah, try to be a little more careful than that these days. I have a multi-tool. It has a pair of scissors on it. Love it. Take a capsule out. going to separate out the capsule. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. I remember doing this last year. They're like, take the capsule apart. Well, that proved to be actually harder than I thought it would be. So just take a pair of scissors and just cut the end of the capsule off. And then you kind of just go, doo, 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 doo. Then you have all the powder in there, and you're not like fighting with the silly capsule thing. The capsule thing is a little weird, but yeah, just do what I did. Just take a pair of scissors, cut the end of the capsule, and you can just kind of get the powder into there by putting it like this, going, and it works. Okay. Now we're going to pipe in distilled water to the fill line. And we want to use this test first because we're going to pipe in a soil sample with water mixture in the others. We don't need to contaminate it this way. So I'm getting this up to the fill line. Get this down nice and tight. And it's shaky, shaky time. Yeah. I feel all scientific and smart. And we let it settle out and the color to develop. Now the next thing we do is we have a sample of soil here and some distilled water. We've let it settle after mixing it all up real good, and then let it settle out so I can pull the sample out. Now it's a 5-to-1 ratio. So like 1 cup of soil and 5 cups of water. I did it less because you don't need a ton for what I was doing here. And they're saying a cup initially is for a big aggregate, but I've tested all around, so we're dealing with about the same on stuff like that. So I shortened it. If you want to be 100% exact, follow direction and use 1 cup of soil, 5 cups of distilled water. Let it settle over night or whatever. This has been settling for about 2 days, and then you can test from there. Now what do we do on these is we're just going to pipette it all the way up to our lines here on this chamber, on this side, with the appropriate chemical mixed in, and let it react after shaking thoroughly. Let me get all the chemicals put in the right bags and everything else. I'm going to line these up so I don't oops it. Not that I would ever accidentally put the wrong thing in the wrong thing. No, never. I tell you, during a crisis, presence of mind and paying careful attention is really important. But what's even better is make certain your plans have backups to provide the psychological safety so that if you make a mistake, it's not a super disaster and you can recover from it. But I'm going to make a lot of videos on that because that is a super important issue. Okay, everyone, I have my powders in for nitrogen, phosphorus, and then potassium, or potash, basically. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pipette in our water. Now generally, I clean these up at the end, the pipette, just by rinsing it really over and over again with a bunch of distilled water to get everything out. And I haven't seen any major issues with that. Now the other thing to do, if you really want to be super scientific, is you could have a dropper you only use for the pH test, and then this one to put the water into the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash tests. And you wouldn't have any cross contaminations in anyway. But for what I'm dealing with here, this is accurate enough and it works well enough. And you fill up to the indicated fill line. You make a little bit of a mess like I'm doing. Okay. Put the capsule on. Not capsule. Push it down real good. Okay. Shaky, shaky. Make certain everything's dissolved. We've got no major clumps here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let the color develop. There's not going to be much color. I already know this. Let's take our phosphorus, which is going to show me that there's bazillion amounts of phosphorus. However, I hope it's starting to go down from what it was. Oh, gosh, it was really bad. That's why I'm using raised beds out here. This down. All right, shake away. I wonder if I actually made progress so far. I'm working on that. Oh, darn it. Okay, our potash. Now we need to give them a little bit of time here to develop their colorings and show what's going on. All right, everyone, we filled everything up onto the one side. Now we're going to add it to the other side, which is the reference side. It's a color compensation. So it's the reference side here. So we just fill it up. And that's so that the coloration of the water is affecting the coloration you can see. It lets you, well, sort of get a good reference. So, let's take a look at this. Oops. All right, let's take a look what we got on our phosphorus. And our phosphorus We're now in adequate range. I don't know if you can see that. All right. That's really good. My problem was I'm on by a hill, and when it would rain, all that runoff would come down into my area, get all over my gardens, and just fill everything up with phosphorus. A couple years ago when I did this thing was surplus plus. I mean, it was dark blue. Now, we're in a good adequate range. This is really good. Now, phosphorus was the part that was actually causing my garden to have so much trouble. Combined with, let's take a look at the pH. See this? Okay. We are now neutral, 7. I used to have it about 8. What was going on there is when you have high phosphorus and a high pH, it means the plants can't take up vital important nutrients into their plant bodies to get things done. It meant that everything yellowed and had a hard time growing and never really took off. So the way I dealt with this is I made these raised bed gardens, these keyhole gardens and stuff like that. You'll get to see all of them. We'll be outside doing stuff. You can see all the compost and things I put in there. Some of the irrigation I'm working on, I'm still building them. They take a little while. I don't have a ton of free time. But getting them where they can't get in runoff anymore has helped with the phosphorus. The way to bring down my issue that I was having with the pH being so high, so I had to pick a very specific fertilizer. I used to use Miracle-Gro, like I said. Well, that's adding phosphorus and other stuff like that, and not really helping my soil. This is what the test was so for. Well, let me show you what's going on with my nitrogen here. Because my nitrogen, I haven't got none. So we got reference and the chemical component all filled up. As you can see, they're much there. In fact, it's depleted or deficient. One of the two. Just not there. And what do we know about that? Well, yeah, I know there's no nitrogen here. That's sort of the area. There's not nitrogen in the soil. So we have a high pH, phosphorus, and no nitrogen. What do you use? What do you use, Reed? How can you get things going? Urea. Yeah. The same thing that you pee. Urea. You can buy commercial urea pellets, and that's what I did. I also actually had a handful when I first got the results from using this test, and of a more safe ice melter for the winter, and it was urea based. I was like, well, there's not much else in here. Let's pour it in the garden. And then everything went grew like crazy. And then of course I realized, oh, you know those peppery beans? Get them around everything. Then everything goes grows like crazy. Short on nitrogen. Very important. The other thing I started doing was adding a whole bunch of wood ashes to my garden. Now, let's take a look. Do I have potash? Well, let's see here. Yes, we have potash. And I'm in sufficient range. Great. Yeah, if you're dumping all the wood ashes on the raised beds, they're happy with it. This is a good thing. It really tells me what's going on. And it shows that my strategy's been working. Now, if you're thinking, Reed, urea? Can I just pee on everything? Well, not exactly. However, what you can do is you can make something called a niter bed. And that's basically a bed of straw and urine is deposited onto it. And I did that, much to Lee's immense annoyance that I've been playing with. And it turns out you bury that straw in the garden, break it up, twist it up, and stuff like that. Guess what? It works. So you have a sustainable form of fertilizer, urea. Urea is a really good match for out here, along with my tepary beans. Tepary beans feed everything amazingly well. So I hope you learned something. I hope you can see why getting a soil test could really help and help you strategize what sort of fertilizer you need. And that maybe just buying what's on the shelf at the store, like Miracle-Gro or some of those others that are just there that have a mix of everything, may be really hurting you. Because if you have a major surplus of something like I did, phosphorus, you ain't doing yourself any good. And you're not bringing your pH down to help. Urea was the absolute perfect fit for here, and it did wonders. So as we get everything going and you see all the green, you'll be like, hey, that's pretty neat, Reed. Exactly. Test your soil. I like the kit. They're easy to find. Get it on Walmart. Links in the description. And I hope you learned something today. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful night, morning, vacation, work day. This is Reed, out for now.